Ah, that was a good sleep in an old house. Anyway, welcome everyone to ElmCreek, the Platinum Edition. Or if you prefer the name, the Anniversary Edition, as Farming Simulator turned a year and had its first birthday. For those of you that missed the premise video or the introductory video, I'll give you a quick recap as we go. So, the goal of the series is to celebrate the first year of Farming Simulator 22 and to incorporate pretty much all the DLC and base game equipment that has been released over the first year. Now, I'm going to give you, once I get this going, because I don't want to waste too much time, I'll give you a quick rundown of basically what we've changed. But this farm, as you can see, has very little money for an ongoing concern. It's a little bit more than you would have starting out, but yeah. It should be enough to get us going. And actually, I'm going to stop here for a second. So basically, what I've done is I've taken, for those of you that missed the introductory episode, is I have taken a version of ElmCreek that I stopped playing a while ago after I moved on to other maps. Went back to it, and I got rid of a lot of the extra equipment and money. So, the animals are basically down to a couple of chickens and sheep. If you look, we hardly have any crops to sell. What else is there? Productions. The only thing we have is a couple of greenhouses. And some honeybees. We have nothing else anymore. The goal there to basically reset the farm so that it would be a little bit of a challenge. Now, of course, all those productions have to be reacquired, and all the new productions from the Platinum DLC have to be incorporated into the farm one way or another. So, I spent the last couple of days, like I said, basically resetting everything and bringing it back to, I'm not going to say a complete start, because I still own a good chunk of the map, not nearly as much as I did before, but I didn't want this to be another let's start from scratch video, because, well, we already have one of those going on the Platinum DLC map, Silver Run Forest. However, I also didn't want it to be, yeah, we've got $10 million in the bank, and where's the excitement in that? So, hence the reason for the reset, to bring it back to, I won't say a really small farm, but a reasonably sized, purely agricultural farm. And for the first little while, all the money we make has to be from agriculture. And then we buy into productions. The BGA, I'm trying to figure out how to edit that out with the Giants editor. I think I figured it out. I'm not going to be using it until it's gone. But we have to build, again, like I said, to use all the equipment or all the DLCs. It's going to be rebuilt using the Pumps and Hoses DLC, the BGA that comes with that you build yourself. and that's going to be fairly expensive to do, so we'll need money for that. We'll need money for productions. The equipment, as you can see, is not new, but it's not old. So we need money for fuel and repairs, because it, as older equipment is in the game, as any of you who've been playing for a while know, the older it gets, the more repairs it needs. And don't stop there. Oh, of course you did. Like I said, I've tried to balance it so it's gonna be interesting, and it is gonna incorporate everything. The only pack I'm really not gonna use, because I don't have much use for it, is the Ontario Carrero pack. So we have a couple of fields already planted, but as you can see, we're now March 1st. And I need to decide what we're gonna plant in the rest of the fields that we have. And one of the reasons, again, for not leaving absolutely no money is that we're going to need seed. And we're going to need fertilizer. And one of the conditions is that I cannot let the farm's precision farming score drop below, I'm going to say 90%. To be fair, my goal is to keep it at 95 to 98%. If it drops below 95, I'm going to be disappointed in myself. Okay, so we're going to let the worker here carry on. And yes, there are worker wages to be paid as well. We're going to let the worker here carry on, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take care of the animals, because, well, I'm pretty sure the animals need a little bit of feed, or at least the cows do anyway. I don't have a lot of tractors left, not nearly as many as I did before. I pretty much had 3 different barns full. One barn is completely gone. And being emptied, well, I won't say emptied out of all equipment, but it's being emptied out of tractors. A lot of damn, there goes Kerbo again. Kerbo will get the joke. Where was I before that? Driver so rudely interrupted me. Yeah, we were talking. Anyway, so I have enough equipment to, like I said, keep the farm going in terms of planting and harvesting without having to spend hours and hours and hours doing it each month. So hopefully we can progress fairly quickly. Most of the cows that I have in the barn, 60% are adults, the rest are heifers, and they're not yet of milking or breeding age. Same with the sheep. I got rid of a lot of the old sheep, and we're down to the young, immature sheep now. So they're not going to produce nearly as much wool as they would have otherwise. So depending on what we spend on harvest season, planting and harvest season, obviously we don't sell the crops right away at harvest season, so the money we have, and hopefully the little money we can make from wool and vegetables, will be enough to see us through until, when does December, January is when crops start to become worthwhile again? So, I did have, just as another example, I did have a tanker truck, a truck here to pull the tanker back and forth from the dairy. A, we no longer own the dairy, and B, I considered it extra. We have 2 trucks on the farm now instead of 5. Pretty much the same ratio as the reduction I did on the tractors. I sold off all the manure as well, so the manure pit was empty. I don't know if you noticed that when we were just driving by. So any manure we need from here on in is manure we have to generate ourselves. Okay, so let me have a quick look at the fields, and I'm going to decide what needs planting where, and then we are going to get going on that. I just hope there's a little bit of seed left in at least 1 or 2 of the planters. Okay, so this seeder didn't have a ton of seed in it. Let's hope the next one does. I'm also looking for your input, feedback and comments as to what you think would help or will help make this series more enjoyable. Where do you think we should focus first? Should we aim for the platinum productions? That's going to be difficult because I've only just planted the wood and it's going to take a little bit to grow. There is a whole forest of pine, but if you've been watching the Platinum DLC, pine does not grow that fast. So before zeroing out my money, I did put in a couple of spruce trees. Nothing major. Okay, this one we're a little bit better off with. Enough spruce trees to get us by. But again, that's part of the challenge, is we're gonna have to plant enough spruce to because as far as I know, there is no way to grow ponderosa pine and the other ones outside of Silver Run Forest. I'm sure maybe somebody at some point will come out with a model that will allow you to do that. But like I said, to my knowledge, right now, that does not exist. And giants were kind of cagey in the forums, and they have been in the past. How the hell am I going? Oh, because I'm not even... it's like, how am I going 21 miles an hour? Because I lowered the drill... turned it on, but I didn't lower it. That's what happens when you're trying to talk and concentrate at the same time. There we go. Yeah, it would be nice if we could have ponderosa pine on this map, but that's just not practical. Now, of course, like I said, there are other things we're going to need. The herbicide sprayer, I don't know if you noticed, was pretty low. And I'm taking out another street sign, I really don't care. So the herbicide sprayer, we're going to have to buy herbicide. That's fairly expensive. We do have one IBC at the dealership with about half a tank in it. But again, half a tank is only going to go so far. And I did extend this field. Hence the reason I have to do the headlands first. So when the tractor's on, or the worker is doing his normal thing, he's not constantly bashing into the end of the field and getting all confused. Now, it's been so long on at least this map anyway, I don't remember which productions I started off with. But just because I started off with them when I first started this map doesn't necessarily mean that they are the right ones. Well, I just brought this back from the field. While the seeders are doing their work, just to give you a rough idea of what I meant, when I said I got rid of a ton of stuff, this is all I have here for haymaking equipment. My big square balers are gone. My big cotton harvester is gone. I just kept what I needed to farm the southern half of the map. This part. And it looks like he ran into trouble, so we got to give him a helping hand. A couple of things, like I said, I kept the chickens and the sheep purely because I figured I might need a little bit of an income boost. I kept the gator because it's got the Azaria Pro attached to it, and some of the fields are getting, from what I can tell, are getting close to needing it again. But like I said, everything else, the bakery, everything else is gone. Now, some of you may say we have too much equipment, and some of you may say we have too little equipment. Well, we'll see. And this really does not like this field that much. Okay, I was about to do something, and I completely forgot what it was. So I'm thinking oats, sorghum, corn, and then soybeans down here. We'll round it out. Grapes and olives. I'm not sure what to do with those. They are a pain in the touche. A nice concept, but harvesting them is a pain. I can supplement the oil factory with canola oil and with sunflower oil. Oh, that's what I need to plant if I'm going to do sunflower oil. Will be sunflowers. So I got to bear that in mind. It's not easy when the fields are about half the amount you used to have, and you could just plant everything and anything you wanted. Now, again, going back to what we were talking about with olives, I really don't need the olive oil. Besides, if you know how the factories work, there is a total set production, and if you do sunflower oil, olive oil, and canola oil, it divides that total production by 3. If you're only doing 2 active productions, you get an increased amount of the other 2. So we won't really be losing out on anything. And that is why, if you look at the greenhouses, I only have a greenhouse doing 1 production each. Because that way it allows it to maximize its production. I have a whole video on how productions work. If you want to see what I mean by how things get divided up, watch that one. Just checking. So I can plant sunflower. I thought sunflowers were in April along with corn, but no, I can plant them this month. And then everything else is taken care of. Sugar cane and sugar beet. I don't have any, well, I never really did much sugar cane, but I'm going to get into that in this series because, again, part of the rule is I have to plant a little bit of everything. Sugar beet, we don't own the sugar factories, and I don't have any harvesting equipment, so I'd have to lease it, and that's going to be as expensive as leasing the equipment for cotton. So we'll play that by ear, and we'll go from there. Okay, while I'm working here, there's another mistake I just realized I made that I probably wouldn't have made otherwise. When I was downsizing my fleet, I got rid of, well, I kept this one, which is the 6120, and I got rid of the 6215. I got rid of the 180/200 horsepower tractors. So I now have this jump from 140 horsepower to 300 horsepower because the 6250Rs are 300 horsepower. And I realized that when I went to roll or put a worker on rolling the field that had just been planted. It looks like that tractor has run into trouble. We'll fix that in a minute. But yeah, I have a 300 horsepower tractor pulling an implement that requires 160. Not that that's a huge deal. Why did you not? Oh, it's already fertilized. Okay. So yeah, I should have kept some of the mid-range tractors, and maybe instead of keeping 3 small ones, kept 1 small one for spraying and jobs like this, which are fairly easy to do, and kept the mid-range tractors. And oh, okay, they actually finished. Wow. It was just them turning around that made it look like they were in trouble, I guess. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do about that. I guess I'm probably going to sell one of my larger tractors. And buy a mid-range tractor. I guess at the end of the day, it's not a huge deal. I just don't like the idea of having a tractor that costs a lot of money, and therefore requires more money and maintenance costs doing a job that a small tractor can do. Now, did you not fertilize that properly? This field's always, yeah, I guess it fertilized it. This field's always been a little bit bugged. And the reason I say that about the horsepower with the tractor is, if you know anything about the way maintenance costs work in this game, it's based on the value of the tractor, not the type of the work it's doing. So a 400 horsepower tractor is going to cost me more to maintain than a smaller tractor is. But considering we only do rolling once a year, yeah, I can live with that. The other thing I noticed was, like I said, I got rid of my great big tractors, like my 9R series, as part of downsizing for the simulation, or for this anniversary edition. And while the 410 can pull that cedar over there, for the most part no problem, it struggles on hills unless the seed is less than half full with grain and fertilizer. Alright, I'm going to leave you here for a second, and then I am going to go and fix that other tractor. I'll be right back. Okay, we're just about done planting for March. And yeah, we went through a fair amount of seed. I almost broke down and got a smaller, I won't say a smaller, a mid-sized tractor. I had replaced the ones that come base game with it, but that was my own silly fault for thinking, hey, I'm just going to continue this map forever and see where it goes. Back it, turn, and turn. No, almost. There we go. Anyway, so I didn't do that. Pro tip I was going to say was, just remember whenever you are doing something like rolling or field work, everything you've got attached to the tractor takes wear and tear. So even though the price is minuscule and the repair costs are going to be minuscule, the front loader and the bale forks are taking damage while we do work. And while we almost emptied this seeder of seed just in these two fields here. So at least the plan for this area down here is, well, I'll show you what we've planted. We've got oats and we've got sunflowers. This is going to stay vacant because I want to try and not overdo it crop-wise the first year. And then we'll probably do sorghum, soybeans, and corn over here. And then that will be it next month. Although we do have a little bit of haymaking to do next month, I don't need too much. Leave a comment in the comment section because it's probably going to be a day or two before I get back to the next episode. So I will have time to read them. What should I do with the grass bales that I made for the sheep? Should I wrap them and turn them into silage? Remember, again, this is as much your opinion I value here, is the BGA I really don't want to be using from here on in because it is a major money maker even compared to the ones you build through the pumps and hoses add-on. But right now I have plenty of silage for the cows to see me through to a fall harvest. I just need to make sure I have enough hay. And I will take this over to the machine shop and we will fill you up with seed and liquid fertilizer for corn planting. I'm not going to fill it this episode, I'll fill it another episode. And I've just been going through in my mind how to mix things up a little bit. Yeah, I can see a little bit from each pack. Like I've already got the Vermeer baler with the round baler. I might, when I have some money, get the self-propelled baler. Kubota is going to be mainly skid steers and ATVs or RTVs. And maybe a front loader depending on where we need things. And then obviously when we get into forestry and we have money for forestry, the big money is going to go into Volvo and the Platinum DLC. I do already have a West Steel bin up, but I got to put a big bin up at the south because carting grain all the way up to the middle farm, the starting farm, from the bottom of the map is a little bit of a pain in the ass. So it would be nice to have two bins, one in the middle of the map and one in the south. This one would surface this side of the map, and the one down here would service this part of the map. Just make it that much easier. Alright, there were a couple other things I meant to say. Oh yes, this tractor, if anyone's wondering, is not that it's worth very much money, but it is purely decorative and will never be used on the farm. It's supposed to be the demo that John Deere has in front of Clever Motors, which I turned into a John Deere dealership. Of course I did. Oh, and the final thought I had was, if you've seen my video, I created a production point so that we would be able to get long boards or long planks or whatever they're called, as well as regular planks on a base game map. And I submitted it to Giants for mod testing, and they rejected it, not because there was I don't know if they even looked at it. I put in the title, requires platinum DLC. And they said, we do not publish mods that require people to buy another DLC. If you want to have it in there, it basically is a bonus feature. So I have to add something else to it to make sure that it is not exclusively reliant on the and it's not exclusively reliant on the platinum DLC. It produces planks just like the other sawmills do. So maybe if I reword it, rephrase it, and add, I don't know, wood chip production or something to it, so that the long planks basically become a bonus, then maybe it will be accepted. But I will be using it in this series. Like I said, it's the only way I can get long planks. And I know, apparently, according to the iron ore situation, I have figured that one out. You will have to wait and see how I figured that one out. That will be in a future episode. But we will have iron ore and we will have long planks to do our productions with. So we're not going to be stuck. There is nothing outside the roller coaster that requires boards, the big thick boards, and the boat and the roller coaster, as well as prefabricated walls, which are exclusive to the roller coaster. So we don't need to worry about those. Alright, in the next episode, we will be finishing up planting. We will take another look at the animals and see how they're doing. If you guys think I have too many animals, let me know. If you think it's a nice balance to get things going so that it's not going to take forever to get up and off the ground, also let me know. Like I said, I don't want this to be a complete start from scratch where it takes 2 to 3 months to get up and running and then you're good. But I also don't want it to be too easy, which is why I've changed all the difficulty settings from easy to medium, and everything's now using like fuel is actually high and stuff like that. So I fiddled a bit with the settings. It's a hybrid between medium and hard at the moment. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Please leave a comment as to where you would like to see this go. And I thank you very much for watching. We will see you in episode 2. Take care, Jay.